A Fox News Opinion Dynamics poll suggests that most Americans now oppose the recently passed Democratic health care overhaul, and many Republicans actually want it repealed. More controversial are the steps taken by my next two guests, who are actually resisting the federal overhaul one state at a time. Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli has filed a lawsuit on behalf of his state against the federal mandate that individuals must purchase health insurance. Missouri State Senator Jane Cunningham just guided the effort to put a ballot initiative before her state's voters, which passed earlier this week in a landslide. It exempts folks in Missouri from the mandate. General Cuccinelli, Senator Cunningham, welcome here. General, to you first. You filed a lawsuit against the federal government, telling a federal judge it was your job to defend the rights of Virginians when the federal government interfered with those rights. The feds tried to persuade the judge to throw the lawsuit out. He not only refused to throw it out, he made some very interesting observations about the likely overreach by Congress when it wrote this law. What did the judge say?
Well, with respect to what happened on Monday, we were given the right, if you will, to continue on to summary judgment. So we survived all four attacks of the federal government. They failed on all four. Virginia prevailed on all of them. So we get to go forward to summary judgment. As part of his ruling, the judge said that whether or not it's constitutional, and he was careful not to decide that yet, this legislation goes beyond anything the Supreme Court has found constitutional under the Commerce Clause, and it goes beyond anything the Supreme Court has found constitutional under the taxing power, which is the new attack the federal government is using. So it's clear that, as Virginia has said all along, and the voters of Missouri have joined us in saying, along with a bunch of other states, is that this bill goes outside of what I'll call the known boundaries of the Constitution. Virginia says it's unconstitutional, period.
Right.
And that'll be decided here in Virginia in October or November.
Senator Cunningham, this is profound. Virginia did it by legislation. Missouri did it by the voters, thanks to you going over the heads of the legislature, which refused to do it. Tell us how you pulled that off in Missouri.
Actually, it was a combination of the citizens and the legislature. We passed this proposal through the entire legislature, but we had good cause to believe the governor would veto it, so we did an end run around him and put it to a vote of the people, which we can do in Missouri, and voters made the decision.
Now, you have said, Senator Cunningham, that you think that federal health care is actually an attack on freedom, that it's actually an attack on federalism, that it's actually an attack on states' rights. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, I don't think it's within their constitutional purview, as the general said, to take over these kinds of items in our lives. And Missouri citizens said they didn't think so either. We believe that although the Commerce Clause was actually intended to facilitate commerce across state lines, but to say that it is so broad that the federal government can tell citizens of this country, you have to buy a product, any product for that matter, against your will. We think it's not that broad, and our citizens agreed in huge numbers, 71%.
General Cuccinelli, suppose the Congress declares that the sun causes skin cancer. Can it order all of us to buy and wear hats? Isn't that basically what this comes down to? Aren't there areas of human behavior that are immune from federal regulation?
Well, absolutely yes, and the founders would say absolutely yes. The question is, will the courts say absolutely yes? I mean, the historical irony here is that King George III and the British Parliament acknowledged that they could not order the colonists to buy British products, but this Congress and President have failed to appreciate that limitation. So we have a Congress and a federal government here that is going farther than the British, whom we rebelled against, went in the colonial period. It's just extraordinary, and I would agree with the senator, and lots of other people do, that if we lose this case, it is the end of federalism. It is the end of a dual republic, compound republic form of government, that check and balance between the federal and state governments. That's what's at stake here. It isn't just about health care. This is about liberty, first and foremost.
General Cuccinelli, Senator Cunningham, thanks for joining us. Thanks for trying to nullify the federal destruction of states' rights. Next, reactions from two Democrats.